ability to do a agency Rolodex. You have the ability to have Melaine Davis put in her own personal Rolodex. Because as you have an employee, say you hit the deer and you get hurt,
Right.
and you're in the hospital, Chuck would have a way to go to your Rolodex and know your husband's phone number.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so put in your significant numbers there, that the emergency numbers even.
And vendors.
And then you can do a vendor Rolodex too. So, blah, 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 vendor. And in the notes, under the contact, you can put your, if it's your copy supply thing, but they have passwords now you have to know about, so put in your passwords. Everything's kind of organized then in that one location.
I have a question. This is probably getting, since we're new, going from Instar to this, how's the data transfer?
Let's cover that separately.
Yeah, well, I
if you
knew I
don't
was
mind.
getting ahead of myself, but
You're gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna make these guys sit through that.
I know,
but let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm just.
They will talk to you about it.
Well,
that's one of the reasons I'm here.
There's nobody here that's moved from Instar this year.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I got lots of people you can talk to, but I know the process and I'll go over it very carefully with you.
Okay.
And that we've got documentation written up and everything. So there's lots of material. So is there any other tips on setup that you guys have done that you'd like to share with the class? Anything that you went, wow. I mean, you mentioned a couple of things. You said, wow, I taught myself.
Vicki has, she does niche marketing. I mean, what they do extremely well, and they do transportation, bus and trucks. And so her class codes are small. But she had some unique things that she wanted to report on, because all of this is setting up for the reports. That's all we're doing. Setting up so that management can have reports that they want to see, standard, substandard, that sort of thing. So each agency is unique in what they want to write, what they want to go after, and the end results on their reporting. And the good news for you is we can do that. It's not a canned thing from Applied that says these are the class codes that you're going to have to use. And they don't explain that you could customize those if you choose to.
Well, I have actually, it's a question. I just kind of wanted to go back over something.
Okay.
It kind of caught me, and then we were done.
Okay.
On the invoicing side, where you were talking about, like, for a broker, so we do have a broker that we work with on non-admitted business, and I was trying to figure out, right now we put in, obviously, the carrier that the business is placed through, but there's no indication on the client file that it was placed through this particular broker.
So when you do your invoice, you would do your broker in there.
And what is the advantage to doing, is that, getting back to a report, then I'm assuming there is a report that we could run to say, what is the business that we have with this particular broker, and it would show us everything that was booked in that manner.
That's right.
Okay.
So
Nettie, for you, is it more important to know the writing company on the policy or the broker?
Well, for you, it's the same,
do you write
isn't it?
certificate? Do you issue certificates?
Not for the brokered business, no.
So you might want to put the broker in the policy, so you would know immediately.
But you only have one broker.
Yeah, we only have the one, so it's not
Okay.
like we have multiple.
So
that's the thing. It's like we know if it's
immediately.
We know if it's not one of these two companies, it's the broker.
A retail agency needs to know what company it was written with, and then they need to see the broker. And it's one of the things that I'd like to see as an enhancement on the basic page. It is definitely on the enhancement list as far as I'm concerned, that when I hit the basic page, I want to see both.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You learn how to right click and get to the invoice and know immediately. It's not too terribly hard, but if you want to know both, you want to know both.
Well, I'm also just thinking out loud is some of the business that's placed with the broker is basically just to basically temporary for a few years until we could move it to an admitted market. And it's one of those things where if I could run a report, then maybe I could start to think ahead to say,
You can always
this
run
is
a
an
report.
account I might want to target to
Right
move
here.
up.
Right here.
You pull your company tab up,
And
and you
you
know
hit your-
immediately.
Hit your policies, and you'll see everybody there. That's the fastest way to pull that kind of report. There are other reports, all reports sort by company. So you can do marketing query reports, but this is like simple, because that's your
And you
fastest
could have
way.
a unique class code for those that are gonna transition.
Yeah, you could actually put in different class codes.
I was gonna say, maybe we could do a subclass.
No, just a class
Just
code.
a-
You
just
might
a
do
class
a
code.
totally separate class code for the business that you know only is a short term. Or put the class, yeah, so have something that you change even if you've got 2 years, 1 year, 0 year type thing, that you're ready to write them out.
That's an idea, you know, like a letter, 01, you know, it's year 1 for that.
Yeah.
02, at the end of 03, you know that it's done to
Mhm.
Something to consider.
Right, it's kind of unique for each other.
On the billing, I never put in the commissions or stuff like that because my brokers, they pay me, might be 10% on this policy, 12.5 on that one, and 50, but I don't do that.
It all depends on what you're trying to report on after. And when you get to needing producer payables, when you get paid is when we normally want, most agents are reverting to when they get paid, entering those limits,
That's what we
those
do.
percentages.
We do our monthly reports then, because a lot of companies, like on personal lines, they might be 15 first year and 14 or something
That's
second
right.
year, and
Right.
you can't just
You
carte
can't
blanche
keep up with
15.
it, right. And commission statement download is what you'll ultimately want to get to, because then those run in that way. And we
And
have,
it creates the producer payable.
and it creates producer payable at the same time.
That's what I'm here to learn, because I don't use it. You say you don't use it either, right?
But
The
Commission
commissions?
statement
I
download.
just do commission builder now, it's so simple to do, it's,
Okay.
Commission builder is the
That's my
manual
commission
process
builder.
of,
If it takes her all day, just,
okay,
once a month, all day, just to put it in.
right, because it's a manual. You might be ready to do
well,
commission
and you
statement
told me when I
download.
bought the system that if you
Especially
get to where you're
looking
more
at
than a
it.
page or so, then you get the commission builder.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
I
when
mean,
you get
I'm
that,
new at it, so I don't have, I mean,
Because what it takes her all day, commission builder can do.
Yeah,
Hey, Stephanie,
Yeah,
I wanted to say, when you click on the company tab and you click on the policies and you see your list of policies there,
mhm.
is there a way to export a report, a list of that? There's no print,
No, if
I
you
haven't
want an
figured out how to print.
If you
That
want an
list.
export of that, probably the easiest way is to go to AR, go down to policy list report, and sort by your carrier. Are you gonna do production report or policy list report?
Well,
Like,
this is what you,
You're doing,
It's according
you,
to what she's trying to derive, you know,
Right.
if I'm gonna customize it.
what are you
I
trying?
just want, I want an alphabetical list or a list of,
I guess I would go to policy list report and sort by, and just pull up that company report and then export it if I wanted to
Yeah,
do
that's
different
what I would
sorts
do.
with it.
Yeah. 'cause
This
that's
is just a
simpler.
little bit,
Yeah, this right here, policy list report, you can sort it by company,
right here, you could just
Yeah.
put in the carrier you're looking for,
right?
and you'd have to move all of these dates, okay, because
If her expirations, depending on what you want, you show the premium.
I mean, I just haven't really totally got my arms around this whole reporting
Reporting.
thing. And I just want a simple alphabetical list of,
this is your simple alphabetical list of,
That's what you
Also,
asked
the query
for.
list.
or,
an
then if you
alphabetical-
wanna be walked through it, cancel here, go up to marketing and do your query wizard, cause that will sort by your company too. And let's go all the way through till we at least climb to the policy, I guess.
and say I want a list of everybody that has an E&O policy.
So just a
Just an
class code,
alphabetical
okay,
list of.
okay, climb to the policy, next. And then,
The day.
you'll move your dates
To what? To what?
to a term that if you want a whole year's worth? You want the whole,
I want the
The
current
entire
book
book.
of business. That's what, this is where I have a little
Okay,
challenge with.
so
the current book
exclude
of business.
canceled policies here.
Uh-huh.
Change your dates to probably a month behind and 14 months ahead, right? Because you've renewed.
So they're looking at the effective date here.
They're looking at the
That's the-
effective date of the policy. And you're gonna say exclude cancel policies, you'll say next. You'll put in your class code here that you're trying to get to. Oh, I see you. You could actually do that either way. Okay, so you can do homeowners if you want, whatever your class code is, and then say okay, and then go next. Right here, you're gonna take off quote and binder
Right.
and say next. And then the next one, you'll go to additional filters and you'll take off prospects, if you're putting in prospects. And then you're ready to run.
And click excluded inactive accounts. How about
Oh,
inactive accounts?
exclude inactive clients, right, and say okay. And say next, 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 and finish. And when you get this list up, if you wanna sort it, oh shoot.
It's because she hit homeowners, but then she hit commercial.
Commercial.
She should've hit
Oh,
commercial.
yeah, okay.
I was waiting. to
But
see.
there's a
I'm
little
sure the
envelope up at the very top of a report that if you click on it, exports to Excel. And then within Excel, you can sort it whatever way you want to go. So one of the things that I have told Jennifer that we could use as agents is Excel and Outlook classes. Okay? Because if you don't know those two, you're missing some of the sorting functionalities you can get from our
And I
report.
just think classes in general on the recording,
Mhm.
the reports, because I just find I spend too much time when I am trying to get some data to figure out, am I getting the right data? Because
Okay.
there are a lot of variables in there. I'll print something and I think it's right.
Uh-huh.
If I go back and really dissect it, I'm like, well.
Why is this
yeah,
policy
why
on
is this
here?
in there? This should not
Okay.
be in there. And, yeah, I spend an incredible amount of time.
So
I shouldn't, it should
we
be a click of a
should
button.
be able to dissect with you if there's entry error going in, because it should be a fairly simple thing to get a report on a
It
class
should
code.
be a simple reporting, there should be an easy way, just a click and run of certain reports that an agency wants to get.
There's,
It's a simple
and I'm
book
not
of
supposed to
business.
talk about this either, but there's a whole new reporting module that they were hoping to be out in the first quarter, but doesn't look like it, huh?
Yeah, I had heard
So-
something about that earlier. I was
Yeah.
like,
So it is actually now moved to another step. It's actually live in a couple of agencies, doing some test runs. So it's looking like it's closer to being on the streets with us. That reporting module is going to give you a dashboard. You're going to be able to see things like that quicker and easier, and you're also going to be able to do retention reporting. So, and that's fairly significant because I have every system I've ever known, those are the types of reports that are so difficult to get. Because we rewrite business and we don't consider it new business. So the system will look at the client, look to see if there's ever a class that was written previously, and then report that as either new business or new business or just rewritten business correctly. So there's a lot of reporting being worked on right now, but your request for a class code list, I would probably do it under AR, policy list report, and get your head around those few fields instead of clicking through the policy query wizard. Maureen, do you agree or disagree?
I got a question while you were talking about the export
Mhm.
stuff. Is there any, I don't think there's anything in there now, but is there anything in the horizon about like a snapshot coverage? In other words, with Sajida Online, which is what I was used to before this, if I had a customer who's coming upon a renewal about 90 days out, we print a renewal review and we
Right.
meet with him. And,
Oh, a
so-
summary of, a
Yeah,
summary,
yeah.
yes, that is on the horizon and absolutely one of the things that we are getting done,
Okay,
okay? So,
kind
and-
of just gives you a snapshot of
Yes,
location, building values,
absolutely.
that kind of stuff, okay.
absolutely. So that's one, kind of the final, in my opinion, the big miss.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, it's tantamount to being able to do, again, I hate referring back to Sajid all the time, but they linked into Word and, you could
Sure.
set up your own form and build it so that it went into the
It is
system
one of
and
the
drew that out and
powerful
put it in.
features of Sajita. There's
Yes.
no question. Yeah, and they do have that.
And it's a big deal if you're doing
And doing
commercial
it
where you have to
commercial.
do lots of schedules and things like that.
And we'll talk a little bit about how some of the things you can do to set up some of those things today, but we won't be getting into the nitty-gritty of that at all. Download alerts. Who has download alerts set up? And I'm sorry, you guys that are not downloading, but do you have download alerts set up?
I just go in every day and
Okay. So what Melaine did is she went into download, she went to her pending tab, and she right-clicked and went to download alerts. Okay? So let's look at each one of these. There's 4 different major carriers of major groupings of download alerts. Cancellations are, if my company sends a cancellation, do I want an alert? Alerts can be either a email address, or an email sent, or a suspense sent, or both. Okay? So let's go back now. Back one more. And the premium changed alert means that my company sent the renewal, and I'm going to set my increase or decrease threshold that I'm comfortable with, that my client isn't going to go shopping.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when I say next, I'll put my increase or decrease in, I'll say next. I can sort this, I can have as many of these as I want. So I can have a personal lines one, and I can have a commercial lines one. If I,
For a line of business.
yeah, or for different companies. Say I've got a company that's just blown up, I can have a download alert that's specifically for that company for a real low increase. So I can really make these things work. Hit next, I can make a suspense or send an email, and I can do 2 of these, so I can have both of those functions running, and I can have multiples of these. So I can have a suspense hit for the client producer and the client CSR. I can click both of these items. So then those people get alerted. I might want to have my producer get an email and my customer service rep get it on her to-do tab. So I can do a variety of things with these download alerts, and they're incredibly powerful. So,
And look, the email attaches. If it sends an email to Susie CSR or Mr. Producer, well, I didn't know about that.
right,
It's on the client.
right. So in other words, the producer can't come back to you and say, why didn't you tell me?
We never do. Not once.
Now you have an automation system. But the scheduled item change, people are a little bit confused with. The scheduled item change is for those companies that your company is giving your client access to their website with a user ID and a login so they can make their own changes. Is that happening here? It's dangerous, and but they do it. They do it without your consent. They're doing it. They're doing it all over the place.
What was that?
Your companies are giving
Service
your
center.
clients.
Service center.
Well, sort of. It's not really. You don't have to
large
sign up for a
clients
service.
with like fleets and stuff, yeah, they can go in and,
I can.
yeah.
I'm a Safeco homeowners, and I have an independent agency. And Safeco, independent of them, sent me my user ID and login. I can go in, look at my vehicles. I can delete a vehicle.
Right.
I can add a vehicle. Does my agent know about it? No.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people are doing that.
A lot of people are
Like
doing that.
Progressive
So
is, yeah. 'cause you can
Progressive
log
is
in-
really good at that.
Yeah, you can, like, I can log in, go in and add a vehicle, change a vehicle, and do whatever I want, and then we get
It's not
the
a-
change.
Right.
Email
And if
to
you're
us or-
downloading
Right,
and you want to be paperless,
right,
how do I let my client know that I know about his change of car?
right,
Or here it
Just made a
is.
mistake on it.
right,
So it's a scheduled item change in our system, that's what we call it.
okay,
And we want to say, I want to look for these different things.
right.
And when I do that, then I set up that same thing. Do I want to email? Do I want to suspense? Blah, blah, blah. Now I can then set up my email templates to say, man, you know, you deleted your car, you forgot to tell me, I've deleted off your umbrella, we need to know if Johnny's still there, anything that you need to know about your client, and you're proactively servicing them, and they're gonna recognize that.
Right, because a lot of people call the 800 number too.
Right.
Even if it's after hours.
Right, right, and they do it. And specified clients I love, because this is your key customer. So you can have as many of these as you want. So if you have download running for you in a commercial lines arena, and you want to set up a download alert for your key customers, do it. This is beautiful, because then you get notification that they're getting paper in the mail. And that's also very powerful. One of the things that you need to set up to do download alerts properly is, how do I want to organize the diary categories? So when you are doing your download alerts, you'll have a diary category. What are you guys using today for diary categories? Let's go look at diary categories. My wonderful fast mouse, isn't it? It just jumps all over the place.
Spastic.
So who's using diary categories today effectively? Anybody using these really well? No? Let's hit the search button and see the drop-down menu. So you can set up categories of different functions, so when it hits your to-do list, you know what it is that you're looking for. Oh, we got a sign from the back of the room.
Here we go. And you can do subcategories, and you can sort it.
Shut the
That's when-
front door. Shut the front door. I like that term. I'm gonna
She
use it.
watches What Not to Wear.
So when you're doing download alerts, you're gonna wanna set up diary categories and subcategories on what those are. So you can know immediately when you get your follow-up list what that item is, so you'll know your action. This is the beginning of a workflow, isn't it?
See, cancellation from the download.
Right, CDL. Okay, so I know immediately that this is a cancellation on download, and I have a procedure in my agency to do what? That's where you're,
How'd you get to
consulting.
that again?
Other, and then it's
And
just
then
all the way down to the bottom,
profiles.
profiles, other, and then you've got diary.
And then the
category.
subcategory can be something very simple. I like simple things. You
Keep
can
it
do the
simple.
class codes, Nettie. The class codes you're gonna use.
Okay. So again, that would be really unique for each agency
It is.
to sort out what they want to use for their categories and subcategories. But this is the foundation of a workflow with download, because we're trying to get paperless. We're trying to do proactive service, because we don't want our clients to shop, and we want to not have a follow-up list that goes wrong. And then you can, when you hit your to-do list, if you've got this in right, your categories, your,
It would be right here.
right in there. And you'd be able to sort on it, go down.
When I was an old applied user, every day, whoever ran the download had printed this, they called it a comm log, communication log, and it would just be pages and pages, reams of paper. And what they did was, we'd pass it from CSR to CSR, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks you would get something, because it would lay on somebody's desk, and they'd file and check some off, and then they'd pass it to somebody else. We never knew what was going on.
Right. Here's where special characters come in again. So if you want to, you can use special characters in your diary categories, because those pop to the top when you sort. Special characters are above A in a computer. So if it's urgent, if you have a special character item that just says urgent, deal with this immediately, and you put this special character, let's just go ahead and put one in and save it, and we'll go ahead and go to a client, and let's just say, let's just add a suspense item with a diary category of urgent, right?
So this is how you make your follow-up.
This is how you make your follow-up.
Okay.
You gotta refresh it? I just didn't pull it up, I didn't know if you needed to
I
refresh
don't
it.
know why it didn't pull up. So she's put an urgent follow-up on here. And so she can put notes on the description, and this, of course, is permanent unalterable notes right here too. So you can do whatever you're trying to communicate internally on this. Okay, and hit save. Now, you see how the email, oops,
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, so sorry.
so sorry, so sorry.
Sorry.
You. You see how the email is live? Now, I can change this person that I want to go to, but in my office, so the follow-up can be changed to somebody else. You know that. When I hit a follow-up, a suspense item, it automatically goes to me. But if I want it to go to Dawn, I can change it to Dawn. And then if I want him to hear it on an email because he's one of these guys, right? And he's out in the field, all I have to do is hit that button that's live email, and it's going to send him a copy of what you put in there. Okay?
Now, is there a way that you can create a suspense on an account, like for a follow-up,
Mhm.
that sorts it by date? Like if I need information, if I need to know information about a client by a certain date to avoid cancellation,
Uh-huh.
will it pull up like, hey, today's the day,
Yeah,
I need
look.
to find this out?
Well, on your to-do tab, it would have the dates out here. Stephanie, why doesn't yours have dates?
I don't.
So it goes up like closest date to the furthest date on your follow-up tab?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And you see how you can change your date there with your option.
Right,
And it will,
Okay.
it will automatically sort by date. But when you
Right.
put in your follow-up, you put in the date that it's due.
that's due by, okay.
Right.
So that's similar to the TAM, like when I
Yes,
would pull up my
it's an
suspense,
open
okay.
activity.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what it is.
So you have a suspense that acts as an alert notifier and a permanent unalterable note,
Okay.
all in one item. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they're retyping things.
See, I've been
Yeah.
doing,
Go ahead,
I'm
no, go
sorry.
ahead.
When, like, if I get a customer that I've gotten a notice of cancellation on,
Mm-hmm.
I try not to call them unless it's gone into cancellation, not just a late notice. But I do a memo, and in that memo, I pre-fill, you know, policy,
Policy
date,
net.
time called, and all that kind of
Perfect.
stuff. But basically, I could do it in client notes just as easily,
What do you think?
or, I mean, in diaries, and then you're setting up a diary reminder as well as
Because you're
the-
getting paper cancellation notices and you're responding to a piece of paper, okay, right. So a paper cancellation comes in, you click on the policy,
Mhm.
let's do a workflow for that. Go to automated procedures. Automated procedures, and then go to cancel policy. If you do this, it turns policy red. It knows the date it's going to
But
be.
it's not canceled, it's a notice of cancellation.
Right.
Right,
So
And
you
then-
don't want to cancel it, it's not canceled,
But if you put this date forward, the date that's on that notice of cancellation,
but you're creating a sequence. And the policy is gonna show canceled
But
when it's
it's
not
a-
truly canceled.
but then you've got a reinstatement.
Yeah.
So again, there's two
well,
ways.
generally, again, because I don't have a lot of customers in the database yet, most of mine are, you know, I've had maybe 4 in a year
Right,
that were, actually went into cancellation, and then they get the option to pay the full, you know, another installment and the missing installment to reinstate automatically without doing anything.
right.
So unless I get a piece of paper saying the policy's canceled,
You
I'm,
don't,
I'm not gonna log in
you're not gonna
cancellation.
log it in here.
Right, I just
But
want,
if
I document that I called them, and that way they can, you know,
Okay.
can say, well, you called me 5 times in a row, but the 6th time you didn't call me, so I didn't know it was canceled. I could say, yes, I did, here's the time.
Okay,
That's my, it's a, you know, covering my butt,
right. Now, how many clients have email addresses?
almost all of them.
All of them do. So if I scan and attach that item onto my policy, I can hit batch print, click on email, and go. I just realized I am not giving you guys a break, am I? We'll wrap this topic up and then we'll go, we'll take a 10-minute break.
So let's do
But
this
if
one.
I-
think this one's good.
I have
Yeah, hang on just a minute, Pete.
Okay.
So you want to,
I think you're on a roll. I
I'm,
think this is good.
but I just lost my total train of thought. So we were,
Cancellation.
cancellation. A cancellation comes in, and if I scan and attach the policy to my attachment area, and then I go to automated procedures and hit batch print, I can grab the cancellation notice, email my client, and have a form email, boom, out the door with a copy of the cancellation. So that can be a procedure. Now, you're right, an E&O consultant is going to say, don't do that on direct bill cancellation. How many people listen to those E&O consultants? I mean, some people follow it religiously and some people decide not to, right?
She said all of you.
Yeah, we're back here saying we need to have a.
Oh, yeah,
That's right.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
It's like, what?
Everything buys E&O insurance.
Yeah.
So the E&O consultants are still saying, do not do anything on a direct bill cancellation, because
On
if
any
you do it once,
cancellation.
on any
Any
cancellation.
cancellation, the recommendation by the E&O carriers is that you don't call, you don't notify any of them. You either don't do any of them, or you do
Do
all of them.
That's my,
Because, but if you did those 4, and you didn't do the 5th,
right.
even though it's documented, you're not safe.
I agree, but my procedure in the agency is to call all of them,
Okay.
because it's, there's not
Then
many
that's-
clients, I
that's
mean,
good,
if-
'cause it's all or nothing.
right, well, I
Some
don't,
agencies have like if you get 2 cancellations per calendar year,
Uh-huh.
if you get a third, they do not notify you.
Mhm.
So that's how it was where I worked.
Now,
Now, going back to that suspension
But that's
language,
still not gonna
but
save you from an E&O.
that's not
Right.
going to save them from the
why
E&O.
not, but
It wasn't.
if I create a suspense and then I get the information and I update the information with the carrier, everything's good to go. How do I close it? And when I close it so that it's not an open activity, does it save it to the client's tab?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it will always remain there. It's simply not an open activity item anymore. It's
Okay.
closed.
You can open it back up.
You can open it back
So
up,
I just hit close. Okay, I see it.
close and open.
And then I guess whenever we get to that part, the scanning. Because
Okay.
when Chuck took over, and I used to work for the guy who took over,
Okay.
he was old school and he has files and
Okay.
every piece of paper is in file.
And it's not available here. Okay,
And I'm
so
used
let's
to
talk
making
about scanning after we
barcodes and
take a
scanning, right.
5-minute break. Keith, did you want to ask something about this process?
All of my questions are pretty basic, so, I mean, you know, how would you go